but we have, careful dude, you could fall over. Almost had to catch you. Cameraman, it's a dangerous, look out, there's a coffee table.
Who would put a coffee table?
Right next to the couches? Yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. Okay, welcome back to another semi-weekly, semi-monthly shop update tour. First thing we're gonna do today is go look at a new product, because I know how much you guys love me peddling the website.
This shirt's available on my website.
We now have trunnions for $67.72, and then we'll speed them up and we'll do some more, but this is a solid piece of Delrin. It comes to you loose, because I don't know if you're gonna take this off and paint it or what, but the bolt is a snug fit, so we don't have any rattles. This is a cool little special machine shoulder bolt that goes into, are you recording?
Yeah.
You're not recording.
No, I am. Touched something and it did something. All right, go ahead.
So this is a little specially machined piece of hardware that fits into this machined piece of Delrin, which if you don't know Delrin, this is like a super hard plastic that doesn't wear a ton. That goes into there, sits flush. That goes into there, and then we give you, that was a good catch, wasn't it? A little serrated nut. Goes on the back side of this, and when you tighten it down, this is still allowed to spin. So that specialty bolt bottoms out on this plate. This is a direct replacement for your crappy factory trunnions. Yes, there's other guys that make them. Yes, we made some changes because we like this way better. Plus, with just being a single piece of Delrin, we can sell them a little bit cheaper. So, new product on the website now. Got some stock in them, plus some extras. And we have tailgate latch kits, and we have other stuff that we'll never sell. If you want to square body pickup truck and you want to mount your 5-gallon endo tank on the side of the frame, we have one for driver, one for passenger. Those are kind of the things we don't normally sell. So this video is not an hour long. We have Shane's dually, which we are wrapping up. So look under the hood. We talked about these before. These are like a tandem axle trailer fender, but we've sectioned them, added to the side, added to that side, made them look like they weren't trailer fenders, built an intake, built new AC line, wrapped up some of the wires so that they're a little bit nicer looking. This will get finished in something when the whole truck's done, probably like a black powder coat or a texture black powder coat. We've got our coolant reservoir for the radiator because we got rid of the fact one, so we're using this all-American billet one. On this side, we retained the factory brake setup, but we went to our own lines. So up front uses a lot of the stock lines, but obviously not from here down. We deleted the ABS. And then the rear, since we converted to disc, we ran a 3/16 stainless line. So some notches in the fender there, relocated the cruise control to below, hides a lot of the stuff, all the wires tuck in through a grommet there now. So underhood is done. There's no computer, there's no fuse box, there's no ABS, there's no clutter that we couldn't get rid of. There's still clutter because it's a big block 454 with emissions stuff on it and all that stuff. It's basically the same way I did mine. Under the hood. In the wheel well. After we did all the suspension modifications, we blew it all back apart and we did some paint on the firewall. It's a textured, and everybody's gonna ask because every time we post a picture of it, people ask, buy this at Home Depot. It's made by Rust-Oleum. It's texture black. You can see how the texture black compares to the black on the control arms and the sway bar arms and stuff like that. It's just a nice chassis paint that we like to use on stuff that we're not doing powder coat. But for those that don't know, this is a Michigan Metalworks tubular control arm setup. Uses the fleet side. Why is that so tight? They bled the brakes yesterday, so everything's tight. But uses a fleet side 3/4 ton hub. So you get rid of the big dually hub, which would normally suck the wheel in a ton. But since we're bagging it, we're making new control arms, we bring the wheel back out. So longer control arm gives you better camber curve, less toe change, all the fun stuff. Everything on here is new. New shocks, new bags. We did a sway bar from Stone. And then, like I said, Michigan Metalworks arms. We just have KYB shocks in here. Nothing crazy with the shocks. All new ball joints, all new tie rods, inner and outer. And the other thing you can see there is you can see our new brake line, and then we did a prop valve in there. We're working on taking the interior apart so we can weld this, because when we welded it on my truck, it burned the interior. So we're gonna take the interior stuff out of Shane so we don't burn his interior. Chris is working on making these panels, same as he did on mine. Laramie's taking out interior. Hey, Laramie, say hi to the camera.
Hi, camera.
How stoked are you for your new Lodestar?
Super stoked.
Laramie's got a Lodestar coming that's been in the family for how long? The whole time or no?
The whole time.
The whole time. Old International Lodestar, and it drove onto the trailer today. Our buddy Jared that bought my old turbo truck, he's got a semi truck and a big trailer, so he drove up to Idaho? Wyoming, and grabbed it. So maybe you'll see that in a future video. It's cool looking.
You said it'll be here Friday.
It's super cool looking. So if we can get Laramie to drive it to work,
I'm gonna drive it.
he's gonna drive it to work. All right, let's talk about rear suspension, because you're probably not gonna see this again because this bed floor doesn't open. So let's spend some time going over this. Same chassis paint, obviously all cleaned up and painted. We'll start with the simple stuff. We're swapping. So, suspension. So suspension-wise, this is the factory axle. So unlike when we did Frank's rear end and my rear end, which mine came out of Moonbeam Suburban, and Frank's already had a narrowed axle in it out of similar thing, fleet side something or other. This is the factory axle that came in this truck, and what we did is we cut it down and narrowed it, and these work out really cool. You can take the shorter axle and put it in the long side, and then just order one axle for the now short side. So 4 inches off each side, because people are gonna ask. 8 inches total. You only have to buy one new axle if you do it right, so that's pretty neat. This is our suspension that we make for these trucks. This is like the 5th or 6th one we've done like this. So we know that they ride good, we know that they handle good. But basically we build an upper 3-link, or the upper wishbone. So this makes your 3-link. So we go around the gas tank, so we can leave the gas tank in the stock location, there's nothing wrong with it. We do straight lower links. We don't bend them because bends are weak, and these trucks are big and heavy, and we have a tow hitch, and we don't want anything to bend more. So we do straight. We also utilize that lower link bolt for our shock mount. Put our shock mount up here, bag mount, big notch, longer than it needs to be. I think we talked about in the last video. Because we go back with the bag, I do the same amount forward, just like the way it looks better. It looks centered. You could do it and cut the notch back to here, but this is the way we like to do it. Big old muffler tacked in place. We'll finalize fitment once we get the bed on, but at least it's tacked there for now. You can see our new brake line, steel braided, going to the axle. We ran a steel braided across the axle, and then you can see, maybe if you look in there, you can see disc brake conversion that we do a weld on mount. AccuAir sensor you can see right there. And then, like, we still do the best we can with the wiring, but this isn't like a showpiece that you're gonna see, and all the fun stuff that we do on like the full chassis and powder coated and whatever, but we still make sure we're P-clamping. We're not just self-tapping, we're drilling and tapping the frame, or we're nut and bolting the P-clamps, and they're insulated, so you're not gonna get any chafing. Protect the airline in an additional layer of split loom. Then we wrap all the wires in split loom, and we zip tie. Zip ties are fine. I don't know what people have against zip ties. It's not like we're not P-clamping. So just extra securing. We leave a notch in here so we can get wires up and over here so they're not in between the bag and the frame, and they come down and go where they're supposed to go. Air management. We have an Endo VT, so we have all 4 valves in this tank, and then this is just the Endo T. These are both 5 gallons. We just use the T for some extra air capacity because these are the big SS8. So these are Slam Specialties bags. The fronts, we use the Slam Specialties SS7s. These are the SS8s, bigger bag, more capacity, and then you get more pressure and you need more volume and all those fun things. 4 Viair 425 compressors. Yes, these are still 425s. We don't need to step up to the 444s, 485s, whatever. We like these, they're quieter. We run a fuse panel back here with built-in relays that's accessible from underneath. So if you ever have a problem, you can get underneath, you don't have to take the bed off. Little junction ports, so every relay, every fuse, every compressor has its own fuse, I should say. That way, let's say this one goes bad, you still have 3 more. Or 2 go bad, you still have 2. Our own battery mounts, these are available on the website. They bolt right into where your shackles used to bolt in. So if you're doing a dually, or if you just need a universal battery mount, these are the heavy duty ones. These are all 3/16ths, big stuff. They fit the Optima yellow tops, or they fit the Superstart AGMs. On this truck, we're running the bed pocket, which we'll show you in a minute, but that has jumper ports, power and ground. It has an air chuck, and it has a cutoff switch. So right now, we just have our cutoff switch wire and our jumper ports wires tied together. That way we can power up the truck. This will go to the air chuck, and this is kind of cool if you need to take the bed off. Oh, there's no air in it right now. There's no air in the system yet, but we put a ball valve here so you can reach under here and flip that closed. Then you can take the bed off and you don't lose all the air in the air tanks. So thinking ahead, that's what we like to do. Rewire the taillights to a 5-pin plug. We've got trailer plug wires here. This is the factory, I shouldn't say factory, maybe it's factory, but this is the hitch that came with the truck, but we modified it, sucked it up, welded it in, and made this so it comes right out the license plate comes. We have our trailer plug, but we haven't terminated yet because we need to get the bed on and mount it to the bed, then we can finish splicing it in. E-level is right here. This piece unbolts with all the fuses on it, so if you needed to get to this, you can unbolt that piece. Basically, we try to make it to where you can diagnose and fix some of the wiring without taking the bed off. And then the other kicker is, if you're really feeling special, this whole plate with both air tanks, all 4 compressors, E-level, and the relays is all bolt in. So you could drop 6 bolts and this whole setup will just come down if you needed to replace a compressor or something. At that point, it might be easier to take off the bed if you have a lift around, but we made it so that Shane, if he's in his garage and doesn't have a lift, he can just drop that piece down, replace the compressor. Again, we'll beat this subject to death. Cutoff switch, or I'm sorry, cutoff switch goes over there. Circuit breakers, these protect your truck. Do not build a vehicle without a circuit breaker at the battery, because if anything happens between here and the entire rest of the truck, a wire going through the firewall, a wire running through the frame, anywhere something could get chafed and ground out, you burn down your truck. Just put that in. Easy insurance, cheap insurance. Okay, the reason we're talking a lot about this, which we didn't say, these are custom cut Michael's Truck Works wheels. Just so we give Michael some credit. These are custom cut 24s, 275/30, 24. These are cut in Arizona by Michael's Truck Works. Killer guy, does nice designs. You can see our new axle on this side. But the cool thing about this is Shane saw a wheel that he kind of liked, and we made some changes to it, and Michael showed us CAD renderings first, and then we said go. And then they come with floater caps too. But we're spending a lot of time on this truck right now in this video because this truck's actually going to leave and it's going to go get painted in Arkansas, and then it's going to come back here. So we're hoping to wrap this up this week or early next week, probably early next week with the body line stuff going. And then we'll get the bed on. Maybe we get Brian down here to take a video real quick before it leaves. And then it's going to leave, be gone for a couple months, come back, hopefully be back in time so we can show it to everybody at Dino's Get Down in November.
Crazy, we're already talking about that.
I know, we're already talking. It's only 6 months away. Let's go over to Victor's truck. Not a lot done to this one, so we'll just go over it real quick in case you missed some of the old videos. Scott's Hot Rods chassis, Premier cab, all new sheet metal, hard fab tubs. We've done some work, like we've got the trans tunnel and drive shaft tunnel in. We've got the front end all put together. We've got the engine and transmission in. This is a Wagner engine. We've got our brake set up. We've got the firewall done, little pockets for the hinges. And then we welded the front heart fab tubs to the outer fenders, so we'll have a nice clean line there when we're all done. Hopefully we'll start going on this here pretty soon, actually. But we keep getting stuff thrown in front of it. So, but we should be working on it soon. Sawdust. Sawdust is because we just did all the wood bed for Alan's truck. So Alan's truck's been done for a minute. We had this at the reunion show. It was running and driving, and it even had interior in it. So we've got it back here. We were waiting for wood, trying to figure out what to do with the whole marquee thing. Ended up having neighbors next door cut us some wood, or cut us some lengths and do the grooves so it'll fit the trim. We had some extra trim. But then all this sawdust is because Pio just got done rounding the corners, cutting the front and rear pieces of, well, in front of and behind the tubs, cutting all these to length, drilling all the holes so we can mount it all. Now it's next door with the guys that cut it, and they're gonna stain it for us, and then put a satin clear on it. Strips are gonna be powder coated, so I dropped those off at our local powder coater yesterday. So hopefully in the next video, this thing's stained and done, and maybe the next video for this truck is a wrap-up video, because we've already put a couple miles on it, and it's good. That's it, let's move to the next one. This is a weird one for us, right? Because it's an El Camino. Is it a car or is it a truck? You wanna know the answer? I can give you the legit answer. This is a car. It's a car with a bed, but it's a car. This is a car chassis. This is not a truck chassis. This is a G-body, or whatever they call these things. I'm not a super car guru, but this is a car. So sorry everybody that thinks that El Camino is a truck. There's no separate bed. This is like an old Ford Maverick, dude. You know somebody that has a Ford Maverick? No? Okay. I thought you did. We should go outside and look and see what's in the parking lot. Anyway, this is Chris Bianco's, and if you're anywhere around Arizona, you know who that is because he makes the best pizza in the world. But I've known him for a few years now, and he had this somewhere else, and it wasn't getting done. So, as it happens, way too many times to people out there, it is now here. They did cool things like they held the wheel on with the Willwood studs, but they had the studs going that way to hold the wheel on instead of taking the time to put them in and mock the car up right. So we're figuring out all that stuff and putting the studs in correctly with Loctite. They had like one front tire on the rear, and we have 6 wheels and tires for this truck or car. See, I almost did that. So we're trying to figure out which wheels go where. The rears are close to rubbing. Then we realized that we had one of the fronts on the rear, and just all kinds of messed up stuff. But the good news is they did buy some good parts. We've got Moog, new tie rods that aren't tight. We've got RideTech, big old sway bar, coilovers, upper and lower arms. And I don't know if these are factory spindles or not. We're thinking not. Maybe they have some drop built into them. But we don't know enough about these cars to know if that's actually a drop spindle or not. Sure is pretty though. I mean, they call that patina, right? So this also has a crate 350 in it, I believe 350. We've got US mag wheels that hopefully aren't scratched, but somewhere they kind of look like they're scratched, like that's the scratch. Right now we're trying to figure out what to do with it. So we're trying to inventory the parts that we have and parts we don't have. We dropped the gas tank, figured out that it does have a pump in there, and then we recorded what the fuel level sender was, so we're not guessing when we go to program the gauges, which he does have the good Dakota digital gauges. So whoever was doing this car bought a lot of the right parts. So we got Curry axle, the rear's all RideTech suspension, upper and lower links and coilovers. We've got Willwood brakes, we've got Dakota digital gauges. This one's got an American Auto Wire harness. We've got vintage air in there. So one-piece windows, some cool mirrors, paint and powder coat. So it'll be a cool car when it's done. We just gotta figure out what everything is and fix it all. Last video, this was closed. We had a customer, potential customer, come by yesterday. So we hooked it up so we can lift it so you can see what that's all about. So now you can see the gas tank that we built. We're gonna try out one of the Holley eyeball senders, whatever you want to call those things, where there's no float, there's no nothing. It's just like Bluetooth. The Bluetooth, the fuel level? I don't know. Wizardry, I think. Sonar, don't those detect earthquakes? Let's go over here. There's been some work on this one. This thing's ready to go on the lift. So as soon as we get Shane's dually off the lift, this is gonna go on the lift. And it'll go on the lift because we have these mounted now. So we've done all the work. We finished rust repair on the fender. We thickened up the flange on the bottom of the fender. And then we got these running boards fitted where we wanted to, capped the ends with a piece of 3/16 steel, because these are 1/8 inch and they're heavy. But then we got holes drilled in the fenders and holes drilled in those cap plates. So now, like, if we air this truck up, so now what we need to do is get this truck on the lift over there so we can make real mounts for those running board mounts. They'll still stay bolted to the front and rear fenders, but obviously, like, It's strong, but probably shouldn't be bolted to just the fender. We have some of the stuff out so you can see like we sandwiched the tanks on this setup so we could get kind of the same thing on the dually over there, some extra air capacity. But this one will be invisible, hidden underneath. You can see the gas tank is out of the truck. Again, we're trying one of those sonar. I think they can talk to dolphins too, but they read the fuel level with like a little eye of some sort. So there's a fuel tank, so you can see how tall it is. He's really only using this for like parades and stuff, so it doesn't need to hold a ton of fuel, but that's still a little over 20 gallons. Hey, don't yawn behind the camera, dude. Is that boring? Jeez. So you can see where everything goes in here. We got the lift pump, we got the mounts for the tray, very Rev B-ish there. But if it doesn't not work, then don't not use it. Is that the saying? Okay, perfect. Finishing up the splash shield back here that goes between the bumper and the body. So this thing really goes like up there and in somehow. But you can see he's working on drilling and tapping the sheet metal so that stays there. But the next step for this truck is we're gonna get this bed off. After we get the running boards mounted permanently, we'll get the bed off. It's gonna go to pack coast powder. It's gonna get sandblasted and it's gonna get powder coated black. So that way underneath we're done. And then on top, Frank's got a good base to start with so that he can scuff up the black, start doing his body work on this and get it all smoothed out and looking pretty. If you watched the wrap-up video on the 54, which will be out before this video, even though we did both today, I'll talk about my 54. Everybody's seen it. This is the one day. One day. Just keep watching, maybe you'll see it. Manny's Blazer, the plan is to get this over on the lift today. He dropped off a couple parts late last week. So we're gonna continue to throw parts at this thing so we can see where we are with it, see what we need to order. First priority is to get new wheels and some shockwaves ordered. So this is on coilovers now. We're gonna stick with the coilover theme, but we're gonna go to bagovers, or shockwaves as RideTech calls them. So this thing has some adjustability. Won't sit all the way on the ground, but it'll sit lower than it's sitting right now when you park it. My dually, still sitting in the same spot, but I've done a bunch of work to it. All the glass is back in. All the precision replacement products stuff is back in. All the interior is back in. Speakers in the rear doors now. I need to get some junkyard parts, like we're missing that. But we did suede on the door panels. We did Escalade handles. We did new lights so my kids can see in the back. We did new seals so the doors don't shut perfect right now because it hasn't been out in the sun. Mirrors I just put on today, so those got painted. Oh, I just adjusted them too and I just messed them up. Front windows are tinted, front windshield's tinted. Still working on getting everything back together, but it's getting there. New cab lights. Did sound deadening on the roof and sound deadening on the floor and sound deadening on the back wall. New cowl, which here's a tip for anybody ordering a new cowl for their OBS from LMC. Mine was cracked and it was about this color. The new one from LMC is about as shiny as those mirrors. So if you want to get a new cowl, you need to order new corners too. And I didn't do that. But I did now. So now I have new corner pieces coming too. New rear bumper for it. Painted the top of the grill so that it doesn't look as cheap. Because it's an aftermarket grill, obviously, because it has the newer style mesh. But that's it. I don't need to shut the hood. That's it. Waiting on Frank for the bed. Did some other rust repair on this thing too. Dude, don't trip again. Quit tripping, dude. Anyway, what's next for this thing is get the bed off, finish up the running boards, get the bed off, and then we can focus on the front, finishing up all the intake and intercooler tubing. But you can see last video, all these fenders were off, and now the fenders are on. Now the running boards are on. That was Juan Campos. Sorry, Juan, call you back. I like to tell everybody who it is so they know, like, you know, I'm not sorry, Juan, I'm not answering right now. I'll get back to you later. Leave a message. That's it though. That's it. I'll call you back in a minute, Juan, okay? Because we're gonna wrap up this video. Go to the website, buy stuff. Or else Brian could fall and hurt himself. I tried to tell Laramie that I could weld aluminum earlier. He didn't believe me. And then I showed him, and he said, "You didn't weld that."
Hector came around the corner wearing his welding hood.
And I said, "You're right, but I could type the whole alphabet on the keyboard without looking." So
Words per minute.
I don't know what my words per minute are, but I can do the whole thing. I've gotten good at that. My hands are way cleaner. I don't have that dirt like in the, fuck, I do have a little dirt right now. But, you know, like that, look at the, see your finger right here. Yeah, see the permanent dirt shit? No, that's soapy water, dude. If that had Tito's in it, we could talk. We could talk if that thing had Tito's. Or a White Claw. Hey, real men drink White Claws, by the way. 0 sugar and lower calories.
Just not at the bar.
I would say White Claws are more manly than a damn Michelob Ultra.
Dude, it's hydration.
Hey, they make Michelob Ultra Zeros now. Like, who's watching their figure, drinking a beer, but not even drinking a beer? What is that? Oh, sorry, I need to talk into the microphone. Michelob Ultra Zero. Bring your purse to the bar.